Well, any minute now, officials are going to give us an update on their investigation into that man who plowed his car into a crowded crosswalk just outside San Francisco Tuesday night. The suspect, whom you see here, Isaiah Peoples, is accused of stepping on the gas as he approached that area. Multiple people were injured. They range in age from 9 to 52. We know there's a 13-year-old girl who is still in critical condition, and Peoples is facing 8 counts of attempted murder. So we're keeping our eyes on that podium, waiting to see if anybody steps up to it. When they do, we will let you know. CNN national correspondent Scott McLean on the scene for us now, and HLN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney Joey Jackson with us as well. Scott, what is the big question that people are hoping to have answered from authorities at this news conference? I'm assuming, I know for myself, I'm wondering why they are so staunch in their contention that this was intentional.
Yeah, that's certainly a question that a lot of people are wondering, and just what was going on inside this suspect's mind, because at this point, you know, initially, early on in this investigation, the FBI was involved because a lot of law enforcement ears were perking up thinking that this was terrorism. You don't just plow through a group of 8 complete strangers this is not some typical crime. It became clear early on, though, that this was not terrorism, and so looks like the press conference is starting.
It looks like it's starting. Why don't we go to it? We'll hear from you in a minute.
That's good. All right, good morning, Captain Jim Choi, CHOI, Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety. Today, Chief Fan No will be giving a case update. After the case update, he will be answering some questions that the media has out for him today. All right.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I would like to start first by extending my sympathies to the victims and their families who are suffering from this horrific event. My thoughts and prayers go out to them. I also want to thank the citizens out there that night who offered their assistance to the injured victims, and who also came forward and provided statements to us to help us with our investigation. I want to thank my officers who responded quickly to the scene, which resulted in the arrest of the suspect. I also want to thank the FBI and the Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office for their assistance in this investigation also. I know that there's been a lot of information that's been put out there the last 2 days in the media, and I want to take the opportunity to provide you with some updates and to confirm some of the information that has been put out there. I'll start out first by updating the conditions of our victims. The conditions have remained the same for all of our victims. The 13-year-old girl is still in critical condition. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the suspect. The suspect served in the Army from 2004 to 2006 and had an honorable discharge. He was also in the Army Reserves from 2006 to 2008. He has no criminal history and has been working as the Department of Defense contractor as a finance auditor. The only contact that he had with the Sunnyvale Department of Public Safety was when he reported a lost item in February of 2018. He has 2 Facebook accounts. No other social media account has been located, and there's nothing of significance in his Facebook accounts. The only weapon that he possessed was a disassembled and inoperable shotgun that was located in the trunk of his vehicle. No other weapons were located. His computer was collected during the execution of the search warrant and will be examined in the coming weeks. We still do not know what his motives were. The only thing that we can confirm at this time is that on the day of the incident, he had picked up some food and was on his way to deliver the food to his Bible study group. I want to remind all of you that it is still early in the investigation. It's ongoing, so there may be changes in the information that we have provided, but we will make sure that we will continue to update all of you on any changes in the investigation. With that, I'll open up to questions.
Do you think that mental illness played a role in this when his family said he suffered from PTSD PTSD after serving in Iraq?
We are still working on confirming that information. We are aware of the fact that there's been information out there that he is suffering from PTSD, but we are still working on to confirm that information.
Did you reach out to the FBI because you learned that you work for the Department of Defense?
We didn't have that information at the time when we contacted the FBI. This is a unique situation. We just want to make sure that we're thorough in our investigation, just in case there are federal law violations that were committed that night.
Are there any motives you have ruled out?
As I said before, we're still in the process of doing a forensic search in his computer. At this time, we don't have any information leading to, I think, speculations of ties to terrorism. But again, this is an active investigation.
When do you expect them to?
Okay, so Joey, just to recap, and then I want to get your thoughts on something. This suspect, Isaiah Peoples, 34 years old, was honorably discharged from the Army in 2006. He has no criminal history. He has 2 Facebook accounts, and there is nothing suspect there. We heard the chief say they did get a shotgun out of his trunk. It was inoperable. They're looking at his computer right now. The family, we need to point out, and witnesses say, I want to say is too here, witnesses say that Peoples didn't get out of the car. He didn't attempt to run from this accident when it happened, but that once police arrived, he did start to act strangely. His family, and this was the first question that was asked of the chief, his family has asserted that he suffered from PTSD after his service. He is an Iraq war vet. If PTSD, Joey, does prove to be a factor in this case, what happens to him? How do you move forward with this?
You know, Christy, 2 things. 1, excellent summary of what we just heard. And number 2, you have your finger on the pulse in terms of the post-traumatic stress disorder, which is a major game changer. What was also of interest to me is he's going to Bible study. He gets food and he's going to Bible study. This is a guy, no criminal record, on his way to Bible study where this happens. And so to the heart of your question, the reason why the post-traumatic stress disorder would be so relevant is because attempted murder is what we call a specific intent crime. What that means in English is that you have to specifically intend that your victims die, or the result of your actions could cause their death in order for you to be charged that way. In the event that you're going through an episode of post-traumatic stress disorder or otherwise are disoriented or believe perhaps you're back in your military days, I don't know whether he was in combat, was not in combat, the nature of his training, the nature of his experiences, that goes to what we call mens rea, which is your mental state, right? And you have to have a guilty mind in order for you to ultimately be held accountable for a crime. And so, Christy, to the extent that an attempted murder charge means that he intended the consequences of his actions to cause death, the PTSD would negate that, that is, take away that, and you'd be looking at something a lot less. And so, yes, it's highly relevant.
All right, Joey Jackson, thank you so much for the wrap-up. We appreciate your perspective as always, Joey. Thank you. We'll be right back.